Good evening. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our lifestyle and the increasing problems we are facing at the moment. These problems we have been facing for a very long time. I'm talking about the lifestyle problems. The first and foremost thing I'd like to tell you that life is a one-time experience for all the creatures, and therefore one must try to respect it, one must preserve it. It is our own self-interest that we keep our body, which is the house for our soul and spirit, in a good state, presentable, and as far as possible, we should be in a healthy state of mind, physically, mentally, and spiritually and socially also. I'll be talking about what has happened to us now, with change in overall technology the world over, more comforts and lesser physical work. Now, of course, our lives have become more comfortable and decent, but there are certain disadvantages and the price which we are paying for this. I'll be talking to you about something about, obesity and the diseases associated with present lifestyle. So it's very easy to preach than to practice. And what will happen now is that we are having lots of interaction through the world. Even if we are sitting in a room, we have all kinds of technologies to communicate with each other, and we have all kinds of technologies which can get our things done, our jobs done while we are sitting in the chair or at home, even if we don't venture out. We have got, we don't have to go to the banks to have the cash now. Moreover, if you want to talk to someone, we have got that kind of gadgetry, as all of you know. We have got television, Netflix, and all kind of things for our entertainment. So therefore, these kind of things which have come up have made our lives easy, but we are paying a price for this. Now, in older times, persons used to work very hard and comparatively led very healthy lives. But nowadays, things have changed and there is very little of physical exertion. Even if we have to go to 100 meters at sea, even the youngsters, it is granted for elderly people that may not be able to walk, all of them. But we use our convenience, either the three-wheelers or two-wheelers or our own vehicle to go to, for a short distance even. We are not walking anymore. And we go to the office, sit down in the office, come by car, and we are intensely busy right from morning till evening. And therefore there is hardly, by the time a person comes tired to his home, he gets glued to the television or something like that. He has no time now to exercise or spend his calories. And on top of that, we have got easy access to all kind of food, which, adds to your calories. So anyway, besides that point, but right in the beginning I would like to say there has to be some kind of disciplined society which is imposed by the individual himself or the community or the management or the administration, and we call the shot, that make people walk to the offices. Let them use their cycles instead of using three-wheelers or four-wheelers or your cars or whatever it is. People must walk to their offices. I'm very glad that in many parts of the world, our fellow human beings are walking, and that's why they're keeping good health. Even at the age of 70, 75 years, they're still having, go out, they do mountain hiking. And in some of the places, the problem is of, either people have suffering from in third world countries or fourth world country, whatever you call it, the problem with nutrition. People do not have anything much to eat because of natural causes. The terrain is such that in some of the places the terrain is so harsh that the land is not favorable to any kind of a horticulture or agriculture. There's no water, the land is sandy or things like that. And in some of the places, there's a problem of plenty. There's so much, the virgin lands, you throw a seed and it'll grow up, something or the other. The people are either undernourished in third world countries, or they're obese, they're fatty. And a young person, even a young people these days, you see the children also, the problem, the mothers are, forcing them to eat much more than they desire or they is required. So obesity is one of the factors which is a big problem. It is an epidemic almost everywhere, including in our country also. Obesity. And you see that there is a formula called body mass index. Body mass index tells you what should be your ideal weight. Your ideal weight, one of the ideal which should be, I was hearing in television, that what is your actual weight, okay? What is your actual weight? So therefore, what it should be, what is your actual weight and what should be your ideal weight? That means if you are 80 kg or 70 kg, divide with that with your height in meters squared. Suppose your weight is 80 kg, it should be divided by what is your height in meters, square it. Okay? That is your body mass index. Right? So normal body mass index should not be, say, less than 20 ideally, and it should not be more than 24.9. It should be somewhere midway. So any person who has got, say, body mass index of 30, that means he's overweight. And a person whose body mass index is BMI is, say, 40, he's obese. And much more than becomes, morbid obesity and super obesity and things like that. So that kind of a situation should not arise. Obesity gives you a lot of problems, including number one is psychological problem. I'm talking specifically about obesity because this is an exclusive disease most of the times because of change in lifestyle, eating too much and spending less of calories, and whatever you are eating, it is adding up your weight in the form of fat, and fat is of no use to any person unless the fellow decides to go on hunger strike and starvation and things like that. Different issue. So therefore, once you gain the weight, and that also central obesity on the abdomen, intra-abdominal part, the omentum is loaded with the fat. These are the persons who are, at a serious risk of getting certain problems. Fat doesn't give you anything, excess fat, and you've got a tiny heart on the left side here, just the size of the fist. And you imagine the small heart is pumping throughout the life. And imagine the state of this heart. Have some kind of a mercy on your heart. Do not overburden it with work. And it has to supply blood to the huge amount of fat all over. And the vital organ suffering. The fat is stealing your blood. So a person who is obese, who is overweight, has got psychological problems. Really does happen. When you come across a person who's smart, who's keeping his weight under control, or she is keeping her weight under control, they are firstly, obese person is not very smart person to look at. It's not very pleasing thing. And they feel sorry at themselves. They cannot control their eating. Unless this obesity is because of certain genetic factor. That is a different story altogether. But what I'm trying to say is, the obese person is quite uncomfortable in the company of people who are smarter, who have kept their weight under control, number one. Second point is that an obese person is more likely to become a hypertensive patient. Hypertension, high blood pressure can give you headache, breathlessness, heartaches, ischemic heart diseases, and even, they can have problems associated with your muscle strength, because fat infiltrates into the muscular tissue and therefore the person becomes flabby. They are more prone to certain conditions like, obesity will give rise to hernia. And these person, God forbid, unfortunately, if they happen to suffer from surgical disorder for which they require surgery, they're a high risk patient, obesity. There's a lot of problems associated with it. Not only that, obese patients are more prone to have diabetes also. Excess fat, there is some kind of insulin resistance also. So therefore, an obese person will require someday or the other some kind or the other medicine for hypertension or diabetes or atherosclerosis, whatever it is. Okay. So, second point which I like to say is that the diseases which are associated with lifestyle. A person is coming back from his office, lying in the bed perpetually without exercising, walking, going around somewhere, and keeps on munching something and keeps on watching television. A person is lying on the bed perpetually. He is obese also. What is happening? While you're walking, you're running, you're doing exercises, your circulation to the heart is improving. Your the venous return to the heart improves, to the right atrium, right ventricle. The person is pumping more amount of blood. But if a person lying static, he is more prone to, all kind of vascular stasis. Even I would like to say is they are more prone to get into the deep vein thrombosis, God forbid, lying in the bed for a long time because of disease. They're going to deep vein thrombosis, your vessels which take the blood, which drain the blood from the periphery to the heart, they may get blocked, get pain, swelling, those kind of things are there. So therefore, what I mean to say is that person should control his eating or eating and should control sedentary lifestyle. Find time for yourself that you either play games, you walk, you do swimming, you do breathing exercises, which I will demonstrate to you in subsequent video. That what kind of exercises you can do. It is all right when you go out, you're running, you're walking, you're doing swimming, you're doing the cycling, perfectly all right. If you're not able to get a chance to go out because your job demands to be in office or at home, you have to work. You find time in between to do certain static exercises that I will be demonstrating to you if you like so. Yes. So what I mean to say is that control yourself. Control. Eating is one of the pleasures of life, undoubtedly. Even a person who has got a morbid obesity, he would like to eat to the glory without realizing this excess eating, overeating, indiscriminate eating of food which is not advisable can create problems. So control your eating and do the exercises. Two things are stressed. Control yourself, control your eating. Control eating means that you have to be, you have to have some kind of discrimination as far as your eating habits are concerned. And that matters what to eat and what not to eat. At the same time, one cannot feel hungry. One would not like to feel hungry and remain dissatisfied. Your satiety centers, that has to be fulfilled. So therefore, what kind of food one should eat and what time one should eat, that is also very important. I can tell you this much, those persons who are obese, their life is shortened. The life is shortened. A person who's lean, who's well-built, who's muscular, who's exercising every day, their life is, prolonged. They are useful not only to themselves, but they are useful to others also. An obese person is a liability of the family and himself and to the Mother Earth also. He is a consumer. He is consuming too much, much more than what is required. And so let's talk about food. So generally what we do in our life is that we take 3 principal meals in a day: breakfast, lunch and dinner. You can, keep on munching or eating something round the clock or so, 10 hours, 14 hours, time while you are awake, but overall quantity of food within 24 hours should come down. That is, a person who has got a sedentary lifestyle, that he's not doing anything, his job does not require much of physical exertion, walking and going out. So these people do not require, say, more than 1800 to 2000 calories a day. A person who is doing physical exertion, a person who is a wrestler, who is a sportsman, who is a youngster, who is a farmer, who is a laborer, who is a construction worker, because their work involves more calories. So they are working, so their metabolic rate is higher, they require more energy in the form of work. But it is quite sure that each one of us definitely requires a balanced diet in the form of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and of course the fluids. A person must take at least 2 to 2.5 liters of water every day, or any kind of other liquid, tea or coffee or whatever it is, but not in excess. Coconut water, mineral water, and things like that. So one must be very choosy about food. Number one, that person should not be eating fatty fried food. It takes the taste away, fried food, deep fried food. So I am talking about those people who are obesity. So they should control their calories. The breakfast for these people should be, see that, just a couple of slices of the bread, a little bit of butter, a cup of tea, very little amount of sugar, and 2 or 3, dry fruits are also very important, and that should, so take care. If you don't want to have tea, you can take a half cup of milk, that should suffice. And if you feel hungry still, you satisfy your hunger, firstly, before you eat, take water, number one. And second point is that you can take, raw vegetables, salad, tomato, cucumber, leafy vegetables, and take a voluminous amount of it. And one of the most important things which will give you the proteins also is, sprouts. Sprouts, if you keep the sprouts in a bowl in water, submerged in the water, you find after 24 hours or so, depending on the weather, the sprouts will come up. It contains 45% of proteins. In case in 100 grams of sprouts, you find 45 grams of proteins. So you can add that. Then, while going to the office or whatever it is, children are different, youngsters are a little different, physical persons who are exerting physically, they are different. I am strictly talking about persons who are obese. You must do frequently the breathing exercises. I'll demonstrate to you what kind of breathing exercises you should do. Breathing exercises, your oxygen saturation should be good. It should be more than 90 in any case, but if you achieve 97, 98%, perfectly okay. Then in lunch, again you have whatever depending upon, I'm talking about Indian lifestyle, 2 chapatis or 2 pieces of, bread or whatever it is, a little bit of rice, not more, say about 7 to 8 tablespoonful of rice. You can have 1 vegetable. You can have half a bowl of pulses. You can have half a bowl of curd. You can have soup, and you can have a little bit of something sweet, something. You can have 2 or 3 pieces or a half apple, not fully but half apple. And in the evening you can have few dry fruits like almonds, or you can have a little bit of snacks. You can have 2 or 3 pieces of pistachio or cashew, and a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you like. And those who are diabetics, they can use those kind of energy drinks which are recommended for diabetes. There are so many brands of energy drinks in the market which are suitable for various type of persons who are having either diabetes or hypertension or renal disorders. So I would not like to name them, but you go to the market, you go to the chemist, you tell them you want this kind of energy nutrition which is suitable for the person who has got kidney problems, who has got a hypertension, and who has got a diabetes, you can have that safely. Evening, cup of tea or coffee, as I told you, energy drink, and two or three pieces of biscuits. Then as far as fruit is concerned, you can have one apple, one banana, okay, or some kind of seasonal fruit. In the evening, kindly have, again, whenever you are having food, you firstly ensure that you do not overeat, and at the same time you are satisfied also. So therefore, take plenty of salad throughout the day. Do not hesitate in taking even a voluminous amount of, say, half a kg of salad. Whatever salad you have, green leafy vegetables, tomato, cucumber, or turnip, or carrots, or like that. This will help you out in eating less food. Okay. Thereafter, what you do is, for the evening, you just have a cup of soup, again 2 pieces of bread or chapati or a loaf of bread, and you have some kind of a change. You get a seasonal vegetable, pulses, all right, and you can have a little bit, 2 tablespoonful of, if you at all you want, you can have, that's it, not more than that. Control yourself, control the taste of the tongue, and replace it. Your food should be by and large, partly and partially, it should be replaced by salad, green salad. Makes your life very comfortable. Your digestion will be good. You are taking more minerals with it, and we should also ensure that you are taking iodinated salt. Now, if you control your lifestyle, please go and you can read and you can find from the net also how to draft an 1800 or 2000 kilocalorie diet. Now comes, how do you spend? Already you have gained weight, I can tell you this much. If you want to reduce your weight, technically it is seen that a person who is obese, who reduces his weight by 10 kg, he looks 10 years younger, mark my words. An obese person, an overweight person, an obese person who loses his weight, after losing weight, he or she, they look much younger, much fresher also. And second point I would like to say is that how to lose weight. One, we have discussed that you control your calories, and second point is that one has to do some kind of exertion. And the best exercise for any age group is, if a person is not having a heart ailment or asthma, the person doesn't have respiratory problems or some kind of problems which are aggravated by brisk walking or swimming or cycling, a person who has got ischemic heart disease, a person who has asthma, who has got hypertension, who has got any deviant problems, deviant thrombosis like that. So therefore, you have to control your physical activity in such a way that you are spending calories also, at the same time you are not compromising your health, in case you are having some kind of a physical problem. So one of the best exercises is walking, brisk walking. Any person who is interested in losing weight, because if you want to lose your weight, you cannot lose your weight just in 1 day or 2 days or even 15 days. If you want to have observable weight loss, desired weight loss, you must regularly walk in the morning, fresh air. Get up early in the morning, sleep early, get up early in the morning. You have to discipline yourself, you have to discipline your mind, you have to compromise on so many other things which you like best in your life. So therefore, please go to bed early and wake up early. Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. A person who's not getting up early in the morning, say before sunrise, is losing so many things. In the scriptures, and so many scriptures mention that angels and spirits, they too wake up early. Oh, wingless angels, everybody, all kind of system face, except this bad. I don't know, it appears partially true also, partly true also. We have never seen the angels flying, but they do. Somebody has said it must be. So therefore, You must get up early in the morning. Number one, see the sunrise. That red glow is so beautiful to look at. You can't see the sun during broad daylight. And if you see the rising sun, it gladdens your heart with something new. It is not the sun rising, the earth which is rotating, west to east. And therefore, in relative to movement of the sun, we call it sunrise, okay. Third point, which we will enjoy by getting up in the morning, is you are in a happy state of mind throughout the day. Sleeping late at night, keeping late hours, drinking, smoking, it won't leave you anywhere. So therefore, if you are sleeping late, please eliminate the cause of late sleeping. If you are a smoker, it's very bad for health. Smoking kills a person. It causes so many diseases, right from top to bottom. Like diabetes affects all the organs of the body, right? I am not going to tell you what are the side effects of diabetes or things like that. So, one must stop smoking. Even some people say you can smoke the half cigarette and throw it away. No. Smoking in any amount is injurious to health. It can cause lung cancer. Sad. 90% of the patients who have lung cancer, they are smokers. Okay, it is very intimately associated with smoking. It can cause ischemic heart disease. Your heart is a principal organ in the body. Everything revolves around the heart. Even the mind and the brain is dependent on it. It's a tender, very kind, it's the most loving thing a person has got here in the chest is the heart. And imagine it sacrifices a contribution to their life. It relentlessly is working, it never sleeps. Even if it sleeps, goes to rest for even 3 minutes, 4 minutes, one had it, we are gone. So please respect it. It's the most respect. It is, it is in this body temple we have got our most beloved person, your deity, your beloved, your everything is in the heart, your idol. Okay, you like to connect to anything, to yourself and to God, which you don't see. So therefore you got something inside that is your heart. Please respect it. So what is injurious to heart? Overeating, diabetic because of man-made factors, smoking, excessive amount of drinking. One of the reasons with the friends when we are young, we couldn't care less. We are not bothered. So long hours drinking till morning and every day. It's all right that you have a couple of drinks, say, once in a week or so, and avoid soda. Avoid generally soda, if it is possible. So what I was talking to you, get up early in the morning, go for a walk, see the trees, beautiful trees, see the birds chirping. I'm telling you, when you get up in the morning, find the birds start chirping, there's a time to get up. And you'll always find, most often, if you be very careful in observing these birds, there's one bird which wakes others also. And you imagine, you see them flying in a formation in disciplined manner. And they're coming back in the evening. Relentlessly they're working. So walking is very important. Now how much you should walk? One must walk at least, if possible a person is totally healthy, as I told you, there should be a brisk walking. Alright, a person should walk at least, 1 kilometer it should be between, if person can do it in 10 minutes, well and good, but by 15 minutes one should cover 1 kilometer. So in the morning one must walk 4 to 5 kilometers. When you have that kind of respect for your limbs, if you are walking, while you're walking, you are running, what happens is the pressure in the deep veins goes up to even 200 mm of mercury. And when the pressure in the deep veins goes high, what happens is blood comes up, because in the right atrium, the heart, the pressure is less. So it's from the high pressure to low pressure. And when you breathe, even then, the blood goes, because there is a negative intrathoracic pressure, so blood moves into the right atrium. But if you are not walking, you are having stasis, your job demands you standing like a surgeon or a constable. On top of that, person is having obesity and hypertension, there will be stasis. And there's a superficial system, venous system, deep venous system, and there are perforators with valves. Those valves, once the blood goes up, it prevents, the stasis and the retrograde flow or something like in case a person is not walking till eternity, his perforators are damaged, then what happens is, and he's standing for a prolonged time, like bus conductors or surgeons or constables, and you'll have varicose veins. Your veins are lengthened, they're tortuous, they're visible, and subsequently you start having aching sensation in the evening. There may be ulcer and all those things which I don't want to talk about. Now that is not the reference of this thing, but I can tell you this much: walking is your foot and ankle pump, which pumps the blood upwards, and your heart gets more blood. So the heart has got the chance to pump more blood to your periphery, your vital organs, your brain, to itself also, your kidneys, your lungs, your intestines, even the skin. That is the importance of walking. Walking improves your circulation. You breathe in, your metabolic rate increases. You feel good amount of appetite. And among the other exercises, if you want to do it, if you don't, you are unable to walk because it's a rainy day or it's snow. It's very difficult to walk in snow and desert because one feels tired. You can stay back at home and do exercises within home, which I will demonstrate to you in on some other day. So walking is the very best exercise. Breathing is very good exercise. And another thing which I would like to tell you is that you must keep yourself absorbed in something or the other. Don't sit idle. Life is not for idlers, not at all. There's no difference between a stone and a human being. Uncarved stone and a human being which are static. You're not doing anything. Even a person is elderly person, it's all right, one is helpless because of his physical ailments or her ailments, but otherwise a person must be relentlessly engaged in work, doing something or the other at home. Idleness, not getting interested in work is a dangerous thing. I don't want to name the communities here and abroad who are working through and through. And imagine a person who is not working. I shouldn't say that he's not useful to the society, but it serves no purpose. Like a person who is an educated person, highly educated person, who is a doctor, who is an engineer, but he doesn't do his job. He's not doing his job. He doesn't do his job. So what is the point of, what is the utility? He or she will feel guilty in heart of hearts that I am living, I am seeing, I am watching, I am eating, I am watching television, I am enjoying all perks of life but not working. A kind of guilt will